That's why you get Android.
What?
That's why you get Android.
I've only ever cracked Androids. I've never cracked an iPhone.
How you destroyed your SD?
That was in a pool. That wasn't cracked. It just fell in the water for like 2 days.
And that'll do it. I got a new phone, so we took mine out back and made quick work of it. Yeah. 25 times.
That was the
Your
phone that
phone
he was
app?
gonna give me.
No, we took airsoft games. It was bang. Some like volley fire in the backyard. It was like so
My brother
Right
got
next to
mad.
school. You left the cross.
My brother got mad at me because, and then he shot me with a CO2. I was like, that far away. I was like, bro, that was my stomach. And then I just see it bounce off, and then it bruised my hand.
Then shot himself in the hand and just.
I do that all the time. And just be like,
He was like, I'm gonna test if the CO2 is working. I was like, there might be a BB in there. He goes, no, I'm fine. I was like,
So you owe 2 more cubicle days.
yeah, I know.
That stinks.
Yeah, you should have just came, and then I would have been out of it.
Or you shouldn't have done those things and you would have never been in it.
That's true.
Yeah, what happened?
Anyway, not if you had chosen to make different choices. You would be out roaming free with your
compadres.
free bird.
No, why not still be in here?
Why?
Because I'd be on level 4.
Yeah, but I go out
But
for
if
2
you
classes.
hadn't done the date, you would have been out on level 6. You guys want a piece of candy?
Actually, I've been craving candy and mac and cheese.
It's like a peppermint. I'll take it.
I don't know why,
No,
but
it's
I
chocolate.
don't know why, but I
It's
think
been in
my
the
mom-
refrigerator.
In the last 24 hours.
I just need a peppermint. Like,
I don't know why, but I think
And
my
you
mom-
never eat.
I was craving mac and cheese.
Any of our
She got
food.
so mad.
You don't like it?
What kind of chocolates are they?
Variety.
oh, mine's caramel on here.
What was yours?
Caramel on mine.
What does it look like?
We're gonna get it.
You got peppermint.
Hopefully it's caramel. It's not something like
Yeah, orange.
I'm scared of my
Are you kidding?
I hope it isn't one of them nasty fruit.
You got coconut. Yeah, she
A
got
nasty fruit taste thing. I like to stab them with a pencil. Like if this was my personal box of
Oh,
candy,
never mind. That's just frozen.
I stab them all to see what's in them before I decide
Yeah.
which one to eat.
Okay.
Y'all ever do that?
I got coconut.
Do you like cooking it?
No.
Lucky you. You got strawberry cream.
Would
You want
you
the
like
coconut? What
strawberry
else you do is break it in half.
Yeah, just-
All right, y'all come around and sit in the circle. I better get my phone on me.
Circle if it's not completely full.
Question.
Yes.
Daniel, that is a teacher chip.
Well, there are 3 teachers and 4 wooden chairs.
So he can still choose one.
And I made this circle by hand, so yeah.
Well, you're also not closest to the table, so I guess.
We don't forget you get to sit by the big man. Let's go.
Let's see if Dixie got a job. Let's find out if our Dixie got a job.
I thought you did.
She had a job and then she quit.
No, she quit.
The manager.
Where was she working?
Where's ask? What's next?
She
You
got a
ask for
job
social
at-
security?
Didn't she get a job at Little Caesars?
Little
I
Caesars.
think so.
Just her driver's license.
Hmm?
I was
For
making-
her ID and your credit card information. That's all.
She might get a job at Goodwill. If she does, she'll see my mother-in-law every Friday. Because that's where my mother-in-law goes every single stinking Friday. She loves Goodwill. She calls it Goodwill Boutique. They call it GW Boutique, her and her sister. And they go every Friday and they get me all kinds of cool stuff. Like they get
I'm just
everything.
scared I'm gonna get closer there. Boom, I'm gonna put on a shirt. I have gone over yet.
You got a shirt from there?
Like I'm scared if I get a shirt from there, like clothes, I put it on, gonorrhea.
I don't think that's how that works.
That's not how it works. You can.
You don't know that. You got gonorrhea?
I've gotten lots of clothes from
I think you
Goodwill,
would say
and you do not get gonorrhea from the clothing.
Well, the disease.
You can get herpes because that's skin contact.
Well, when you get the clothes, you take them home and wash them.
Right, but the second you touch those clothes, herpes.
No.
That's why you grab it by the
No.
hanger. Like very delicate, like biohazard material
That-
style.
Stop
And-
spreading faulty rumors. You're gonna freak everybody out.
Yeah,
That
don't
could
go
happen
to,
in any store then, because anybody with herpes who
Could
has like
touch
a
that,
skin
sure.
infection, open, oozing skin, could go into any store and try something on.
I
And it
I
could be
that mineral
on
image.
brand new clothes too.
good thing I always eat out.
So I'm just saying, there is no safe clothing store if you're gonna go with that philosophy.
I made chicken tenders by myself for the first time.
Because people with herpes shop at other places besides just the Goodwill.
The Goodwill.
Be good.
We don't know too, so.
I love the Goodwill. And this is the other thing about Goodwill. You can get lots of good books there.
Why do you call it the good one?
There's only
It's
one.
just
So.
good.
There's Mr. Wilson.
I don't
I don't like him.
know. Like, there's the principal.
Oh.
I like Miss Manning.
Miss May's pretty young.
She's fun.
And she's pretty too.
I'm not gonna say that.
You don't think Miss May's pretty?
She's a fully grown adult.
For a fully grown adult woman, she is pretty. You don't think there's fully grown, pretty adult women?
See, there's exceptions to every rule.
Just not like
You don't think
50-year-olds.
Miss May's pretty?
She's superlative to me. That's weird. It's like
Superlative.
above, superior.
Superlative. Mm.
That's a word for Google.
Well, superlative, you don't usually use it like that. That would be like,
Yeah, but that's what the word means, I think.
superlative means above it's like saying you achieved higher than anybody else. Like,
Well, she did. She has a degree. So am I wrong?
No.
well, you use it in a funny way. Like people would be like, "What?" If you said it. But I mean, technically,
I got it right.
but not really.
See, that's half credit.
It's semantics. Semantically, it's incorrect. But
In Earth terms, you got it right.
No, that means I got half credit.
That means you got it
I understood what you said. Well, it's kind of like saying I'm inferior and she's. It's like superlative usually applies more to the quality of something.
Yeah, the quality of her college degree is a lot better than the quality of me not having one, so
Well, you will.
I hope so. I'm gonna drop out.
No, you're not.
That's another good idea.
Can't you not drop out at 18 anymore? And then
You can't drop out of high school, you can still drop out of college, because that's optional. You can't drop out of high school anymore,
You're
they
not
make you
gonna
get
drop out of anything even. You're gonna cheat.
Well, you could choose not to go to college to begin with.
Remember,
Yeah,
your
that's how it
goal.
works.
Your goal is to be very rich. And
Just have so much money that I can buy away all my problems. That sounds good to me.
That's
how
his
it works.
goal.
That
What's your
sounds like
goal,
Someone that's
Cam?
spoiled.
You got a divorce? Women like if you got money, so it's not like you can't just get another.
One way to look at it.
Tell me I'm wrong.
Listen, I'm
You're
gonna
so
choose to
very
believe
right.
that this is the way that you're processing your stress today. That it's coming out as really inappropriate.
I wasn't that inappropriate.
Well, it's not
There's a lot of
inappropriate.
truth to that
Okay,
statement, too.
there's not so much inappropriate as
every-
just like cynical. and-
Everything he said
What
of
did
that
you
was
say?
very true.
I said, if you got money and you get a divorce, not a problem. Well, if you have money, so it's not like you can't get another one.
You know, hey, we're gonna put your mouth on
Duct tape.
timeout. You know, like when I was still in college, they fired this teacher in Monterey. I wasn't working at the time, but she duct taped a kid to a chair and duct taped his mouth as well.
in Monterey?
Reminds me of elementary
Sounds about
school.
right.
In elementary school, they would put you in a high chair. It's like,
In a high chair?
My teacher had like my teacher had a makeshift
no,
dumpster.
in
Put that
elementary school, they would put you in a high chair in the middle of class and front of everyone.
Keith, that must.
My teacher had a
Must have
makeshift
some
dunce
kind of
cap.
trauma from that. That was.
Put that on. You had to wear it for the rest of the day.
Yeah,
I was in.
how do you manage that? And then I got
And
mad
you
at
skipped
my mom
every day.
whenever the tornado stuff happened, and then because my girlfriend's house got destroyed, and she wanted me to help her, so she asked me if I could help her, and I got I don't know something. And then she asked her and goes, "No, he's grounded." And I go, "Wow, people died, and yet I'm grounded." And then I guess I never feel bad. And then she told me to go.
Oh,
Sounds
I almost wanted to tell her, but I
tell her.
didn't.
Tell her off.
Mm-hmm. I'm
You
self-control.
said,
Here's what you gotta say. You gotta say.
I almost
Okay.
just went to my other aunt's house.
You mumble something mean under your breath so low she can't hear it, but then you say, okay.
Bro, she's like 90 years old. She hears everything you say. Even if it's in your
I
mind.
can hear my kids when they make their little comments. What'd you
Even
say?
if it's in
What was
their
that?
even if it's in their
Speak
mind,
up.
they still hear it.
Everyone knows I will speak up. I won't speak up if my dad's home. But when my mom's home, or when it's just my mom, I'll tell her what I'm thinking.
My kids, that's how my kids are. Like, if Bobby's around, they're little more like.
My uncle told me to hit it,
Sound off.
and then I can't. And he goes, why? Because I live with you. Wrong.
We haven't heard anything from you, Dakota.
Are you all good? Is everything
What's
good
going
around?
on in your land?
He's not broken. I'm in the hospital.
Is your house okay? It looks like you got a lot on your mind. Today. They did it off today. Your cousin died? When? When was that? Hello. I like this shirt.
Bro, we have like 30 people at the same time.
I got a car.
You got a car?
I own my own car.
Wow, where'd you get?
Is it actually yours, or
It's actually mine.
it's your name is on?
Mhm.
Hey, your zipper's down.
I knew that.
I feel as though I need to tell you that.
I went to the bathroom before I came in.
Because like, I've done that before, like, here's the thing, have you ever seen like a woman walk out of the bathroom and have like part of her skirt tucked in her pantyhose? Hello, how are y'all?
Good, is your light bus coming today?
They
I
are,
mean, the bus?
they had to go to Cane Creek first.
Okay, well,
And
we just knew it was real late.
it's
so I
real
thought-
late.
Okay, gotcha, thank you.
You.
Okay.
They are coming though, you too.
Huh?
They are coming, but I said you too, happy day.
Okay,
We'll see you
thank
later
you.
on.
I have pictures of it on my phone.
Hey, can you climb on that table and get that?
No, you're not.
I can volunteer to get the clock.
I know.
I'm big enough.
Pretend
don't
that I
fall,
didn't
because
want
I'm not gonna run
to
over there and
service.
catch you.
No, we gotta change it.
Yay!
Oh, yes.
Okay, so this week, guys, there's a full moon. There
I got a
is
question.
Friday the 13th, and
Sometimes I like to
we had
play
a
the game
time
all day.
Wait,
change.
wait.
And it's tornado. Today's Monday the 9th.
They even give out the 1984 license for free. Dumber is purple and it runs right back. I got confused myself.
See if you can get back up
So
there.
yesterday I thought it was Friday. Bro, I was so stressed. Yeah, I wanted to
I was about to
volunteer.
pole vault. I was about to box jump.
I wanted to volunteer, but my mom was like,
I'm not
she would be like, no, you're grounded. I'm like, bro, I'll be grounded for
Almost.
months.
Hey, look at me.
Because
Is it crooked?
the longest I've been grounded is
It's fine.
4 months.
Thank you.
The longest I've been grounded is 4 months. That's because she forgot I was grounded.
Car.
She forgot I was grounded. Be like,
Has heated
"How
up
do
your
you
seats
forget
good
I'm
on
grounded
Friday
if I don't have TV on?"
What do you do at home?
Well, normally I'm not grounded to my room, but I am. And then my brother, the same day I got caught with the vape, got right up, and he got grounded for legit 2 hours. And it's like, whenever he got caught with his vape, he was grounded for 2 weeks. I've been grounded for a month already.
Are we on spring break now?
No, Cam.
Ah.
What?
We're on spring break after this.
Next week we're on spring break. Suddenly Daniel's awake.
One more week. That's only 1 week off.
Yeah, but still,
Emily, what did you do over the last week?
I'll show you my
Was your house anywhere close to
let's
the
just
storm?
wait till everyone speaks and we can celebrate your fact. You got it.
But is it safe? Is everything okay? I sent your dad a text message that morning. Make
You
sure
sent
that
everyone a
that's
message.
I sent her a
fine.
message. I reached out to her.
I didn't really care. Not to be mean, but after my mom told me about the message, I go, well, it doesn't matter now because we don't have any service. And then she goes, yeah, I guess you're
I would
right.
have gone back to you the day after, but I had to wait till the day after the day after.
I talked to your mom.
I didn't get Wi-Fi back until like yesterday.
I soon reached out to everybody.
Well, mine came back at like midnight.
Yours too.
I never got mine back at
But I don't know if she answered
Mom.
me.
My mom got
Probably
mad.
didn't.
My mom got mad and was like,
Yeah,
She checked my
They
phone.
moved your bed, dude. You hit me in the head
She
so
probably
hard I
didn't
died.
text back.
I did a whole backflip. You see me?
I called, I tried to check on all of y'all.
Yeah, John was like spam texting me that night. I was just sleeping.
You're like, I'm chilling, dude. Leave
I
me
kept
alone.
waking up every couple hours because things would randomly fly and hit my window and it would make a really loud noise and my bed's like right in front of my
Your
window.
window saying,
Yeah.
Where is your house?
My house is like, it's in back, I don't know. It's like, it's really close to Echo Valley though.
Hello, how are you? This is Miss Barbara Sims.
hello.
She's a social worker.
Oh.
You're very welcome, but whenever you do have your TV in your room, I think, or whatever you go through there, I think the basketball girl needs to be on the stage over here in just a few minutes, y'all.
It's so hot in here.
no.
The MLC goes on. Sales, so I got one sheet here. So I can use that to deliver data to cargo. Just pop that in the back and take 0 damage as I drive off.
No.
It's smart. It's smart.
Why can't I?
And I can just respawn the vehicle in the back. Because it always keeps running back to back. So like if the MOC gets blown up, who cares? Like, who cares? They just respawn and the vehicle's still in the back. I don't know if it's gonna. It couldn't have made it. He's like, yes. They used to be able to do that. They used to be able to throw in like a service vehicle, like a source vehicle, like top range was like 2 mil. Blow up your MOC, you take it back. It'd be just like a street car with no tag, so you can take it to the dealer and sell it. It's patched now, but. I did that with like 6 X80 Protos.
I mean, if that still works, whatever these messages
No, it has to be the vehicle you source. So say you know what we were doing, right? Yeah, we source the vehicle. Say it's like a top range X80 Pro. You put it in the back of your own seat.
So basically,
What were you doing?
He goes like, no, that's like cubicle time there.
What were you doing?
I didn't say that.
No, whenever we was going on about it, and then they go,
Oh, talking about the crash.
Hayden
Yeah.
to give you a tour. Hayden,
what?
will you take Miss Sims around and give her a tour of the building?
I would love that, because I don't know my way around.
Specifically show her the guidance office because that's where
Renata's office is. It's like, if you're looking at the guidance office, there's two, like 1, 2, 3, 4 doors across, and she's the second door in the
Well,
left.
to be honest, I do know where that is, because Mr. Step showed me.
Okay.
But the rest
Yeah.
of the building, if I
Yeah, take her on the, he's very loquacious. He'll have a lot to say.
Where?
Other side.
Oh, yeah.
So you're not the most talkative person.
Me and Cam were just talking about how we hate social workers.
Really? Why?
We do for certain reasons.
I've had bad experiences with social workers, so.
Oh. Oh, like,
Yeah.
with like DCS social.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, I don't
It
want to
can
talk
be
to
scary.
you.
It's like if you have a bad experience with the police.
And then not only that, they don't tell you what's going on, and then they just want to talk to you. It's like, guys, can I know what's going on? And can I know your name too?
Then we have
They
no
never told me their name.
The other one, whenever I talked to that one that I didn't, that I was called to the office that one day and I told you about, she didn't even tell me her name. And then I was like, kind of makes me question if she's actually DCS. Yeah.
You know that you can advocate for yourself and say, "And what's your name?"
I didn't know that.
Yeah, you can do
Because
that.
I don't do that. My parents do. So,
Well-
yeah, keep me out of it though.
But you're 16, right? Or 17? How old are you?
I'm a freshman.
I thought you were 16. In my mind,
Did
I
he just
was
turn 15?
I just turned 15.
I thought you were 16.
Oh my goodness.
Maybe that was
I
because of the
almost
fact
told my
that I was
mom's
16.
I was really thinking about it.
Don't tell me this. Don't tell
I
me.
was really,
All their illegal things.
well, it's not illegal. Well, it is illegal
It
because I
is.
started it.
That's Grand Theft Auto.
I don't want to hear about this. Do not say this, Ricky.
No, I just went around the circle a couple times and be like, yeah, I can drive now.
Ricky.
We live on a circle, and
Ricky,
that's
stop yourself. Anyway,
I finished it.
this is what you do when somebody comes to talk to you and you don't know who they are.
No.
Say, do you have a card? What is your name?
I mean, she had the thing like what you have, but that's your school ID.
But you can ask them, do you have a card? Or what is your name? And
And
if
then-
my mother wants to talk to you later, how is she gonna, like, you
They,
just
they
ask
went to
questions.
that. They went to my house first, and knocked and knocked and knocked. Which my mom was there. She just didn't open up the door. And then she leaves a note and says, "This is caseworker from DCS." And I was like, "Oh." And then my parents told me, well, she said something to you whenever I told you to text my mom and said that DCS came into school. And then she goes, "Yeah, they came to our house." See, I don't get to know stuff.
I think it would be scary to
I just don't
have
know
them come to your house, don't you?
We're social beings. I don't talk to no one.
Well, they're supposed to be there to help you and support you, not to scare you and confuse you.
But they do scare me and confuse me.
Well, if I ever go into social work, I'll make sure I tell them.
I will make sure to say, no, I do not want to talk to this old.
What if they're not old? Some her age.
She said that she's old. She's like 50.
Oh, that's rude.
Oh my gosh, I'm 2 years away from 50. I'm
Still,
1.5 years away.
That is rude. You
Let
don't
her
make
have
people
her
feel
2
old.
years, Ricky.
Okay, fine.
I'm not quite 50.
You're still 50. I legit thought
He's
my mom
rounding
was
up.
40 something. And she goes,
How old is my mom?
and I go, how old are you? And she goes 37, and I go, oh, I thought she was like 46. She
Your
goes,
mom?
yeah. She's like 35. And I was like, oh, I thought she was 40.
That's mean.
But you know what? I had students that are older than that now. Like when I started teaching, they were 18 and I was what, 20 something. So now they're like in their late 30s and early 40s.
No, that looks scary.
Yeah.
It just blows my mind that there's 40-year-old people around that I was their teacher.
It is hot. I don't know why.
Welcome to the warm classroom. Maybe
I wonder where
the
Miss Chris
maybe
went
the
to.
storm may fix the heating system in the building.
Danielle, like what was your experience of the tornado?
Absolutely nothing except
Okay, we're in a circle. Let's do do circle for Rick.
Nothing except high winds with enough to knock over a garbage can and the occasional spinning of rain.
Where were you?
The opposite direction from this. Say the school is the midpoint, opposite direction of where the tornado is.
Okay, so did you hear the storm? Did you get the warning?
Well, you could faintly hear the sirens.
Thomas!
Good.
Hey.
Hey. Like the jacket, by the way. I don't want the time sheets.
Okay, yeah. You want to- Mine's actually done, I just have to turn it in.
Okay. She was like hounding us for it. It's the first thing. It's cold, man.
I sent Miss Wiley an email
Okay.
and I copied Mr. Step and Miss Hargis on it so that,
Okay. Cause, she was like, what am I gonna do? How am I gonna leave early? Am I gonna get in trouble? I said, no, I'll cover it. I'll make sure you're covered.
was it because of the storm?
Yeah, they lost their house. So, we picked kids up for King Creek that lost their houses that have been displaced. We picked up other kids that lost their houses that's been somewhere else. So we're gonna be this time every day for a while, because we drop off King Creek Elementary first, and then we come here. But we have to come Buffalo Valley Road. So,
The cafeteria workers came up and asked if you were coming today, and I said, oh yeah, she's coming. Like, they'll be here.
so.
Glad you're okay. Everything's fine
What?
at the house.
Like,
Let me run this through Stargate real quick. I'm gonna further. Maybe you should.
Alright, how far have we gotten in the circle?
We've just been kind of talking, we haven't been talking about anything important.
Oh, so I was the first one that actually was challenged to talk about something important.
I mean, we haven't been talking about, I mean, it's been important, it just hasn't been like,
Very
Deep, like,
it hasn't
on a
been like,
certain subject.
top.
right. It wasn't on one certain subject yet.
So I was the first person to start this whole.
Yeah,
Why,
if that
after the
was
tornado?
done, Zachary Rice, you wouldn't make it. They have way too much
When I got started when I was little, they didn't bling bling.
Yeah, cause it's not real metal, alloy.
Actually, it looks like it hurts. Does it not look like it hurts? That looks like it hurts.
I wanna get one like right here.
Oh my gosh, it hurts.
And,
It's like they're trying to like death. Like, legit.
you know what's gonna be weird is when like these kids that are getting their ears gauged and they get those real big holes, when they're my age,
You don't want that.
and they're not gonna want that, and they're walking around with this huge gaping hole in their
Yeah, I
ear.
wonder if you have plastic surgery where you can get that fixed.
You can probably have plastic surgery, but it won't look the same ever.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll make your ear look deformed,
I
probably.
see, like they do that in Africa, and they're like, big,
Stuff
and they're like
is-
really stretched out. It's like, I don't know.
It looks painful. Or they
That was supposed
put
to
the
be neck rings.
neck rings and elongate their necks,
Yeah.
and then when they take those off of them, their necks break because they don't have any muscles. Yeah,
So what does their head do? Rest on the rings, like.
yeah, it's just. I mean, their neck is not broken, but it has no muscle to support it. Or like Asian people in the olden days that found their feet, they actually broke their bones, and
So they can fit in small shoes.
yeah, they like the smaller your foot, the like holier and better looking you were considered, and rich people did that. Like peasants didn't do that. It was the elite people.
A lot of peasants were forced to do it.
They wanted their feet to look like lily petals,
Lotus flowers.
lotus flowers. Yeah, that's the word. And you could get gangrene in your foot. People died from it, like if it was done incorrectly.
That's a good thing I only have a couple metal ones with these.
lips are
It's just styles change as you get older, and then things that look, it's like getting tattoos on your face, and then
That's probably one of the worst.
and then when you're like 65 years old and you're a grandma and you've got these saggy tattoos that are fading, and
There's a rapper who has an ice cream cone on the side of his face. It's like goes from here to here. It's like takes up like a whole half of his face, like an ice cream cone.
what does that mean?
That he's
He's an idiot.
what is it? I think he's like standing for like I'm so icy. Like because he's rich and he like drips with a lot of jewelry.
Really?
His name's Gucci Mane.
Gucci Mane.
What, Gucci Man?
I actually
Gucci
have heard of that
Gucci
Gucci
Man?
Man guy.
Gucci Mane.
Wait, what tattoo?
He has an ice cream cone inside of his face. You guys seen that?
I sent
He's had it
Hayden
like
with
years.
one of the visiting social workers to give her a tour. I was like,
Yeah,
I was like,
drips. And so therefore-
Hayden is very loquacious, and he will be quite entertaining.
So what were we talking about at the circle? Have you started it or no?
Not really.
Really,
I was the
we're
first one
waiting
that-
on y'all.
Got a serious subject, and then we just went back into talking about
What was the subject?
So there you go.
life after the tornado, stuff like that.
There was a lot of people displaced. There was a lot
Is
of
that it?
people hurt.
Is that a tattoo or is that actually like
That's
a,
too.
you know how they also
They're
brand,
trying to figure it out.
you know how
It's
people
kind
get
of
branded?
hard.
Yeah.
So if you're not
that's
affected,
coloring.
feel yourself very blessed.
I do.
You know, so the thing is.
Post Malone has a tree
The best thing
Comes out
to
here,
do is.
over his forehead and
Did
the
you hear
leaves.
about Post Malone and like everybody was worried about him because
They
he
have
was
not.
doing drugs, but he announced that he was fine.
No, he's definitely doing drugs.
He's an alcoholic, but he said he wasn't doing hard drugs.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's
Alcohol is a drug, it's a chemical that changes the way you feel.
That's one way to look at drinking.
It's true.
It's true.
That's true.
Like even if you go to an NA meeting, they'll say alcohol is a drug, and then they all go, yep. Food can be used as a drug
Coffee.
because it changes the way you feel. Like anything you use to change the way you feel because you're not okay in your skin, it's,
Well, people were thinking more like heroin, so.
but I mean, alcohol is actually more dangerous than heroin. People die from alcoholism more than
Is it
drugs.
literally melts your liver and eats your liver?
Threw the whole bottle of Moscato in probably about 35 minutes.
I can imagine.
What'd you say?
So I cleared a whole bottle of Moscato in about 35 minutes. That's what it's like.
So we need to do an intervention, is what he's saying. Help me not hurting.
And I don't even consume, that's probably the first thing I consume alcohol, like 2 or 3 years. And when I did that, it was maybe like a glass of wine.
Did you have
Not
fun?
a bottle. No, I haven't fun. Straight to sleep right after.
What's this?
People die, like people die from alcohol withdrawal if you're an alcoholic and you stop
I
drinking.
usually get some
Shocks your heart.
What?
Benzos, you can die if you do benzos and get addicted to that and withdraw without being medically supervised.
Wait, isn't that Xanax?
Benzos.
Yeah.
Thousand.
I would.
Well, without Hayden, you guys want to talk about the tornado?
We can.
That's kind of a depressing subject, though. You probably
I saw a lot of scared faces this morning on the bus.
Well, I would think it would be scary to, guys, when we're in a circle,
It's just, nobody knows what's gonna happen, and when you're not used to change, it really disrupts your entire system. It disrupts your life, it disrupts your thinking, you're not safe. And these were elementary kids. One was clinging to his sister and didn't wanna let her go. I'm just grateful we dropped him off at King Creek before we moved on. Because normally we separate the middle school kids from the high school kids, and the elementary school kids from everybody else, and he just wouldn't let her go. So I was like, oh, I hope he has a good day. So,
Do you have paper towels? There's juice on the shelf.
use a tissue right there. So. Sorry. And if your house is safe, if your house is fine, everything else, just consider yourself blessed, because you're fortunate that you don't have to walk that mile, because it's a hard mile. There was debris that we saw, or that I saw, and I haven't been up here since it happened, that was all the way down on Buffalo Valley Road in the fields. Like insulation and stuff like that was in the fields. And so this was pretty bad. Pretty. I was concerned about Coach Jeff. I was concerned about everybody else. I kept texting Miss Marion saying, hey, is everybody okay? We heard from everybody.
Coach Jeff's house is right on the outskirts where it happened. Like a street over.
By the grace of God, it was not you.
Absolutely.
And then I called him that morning, and like when you answered the phone, you didn't say anything for, it was like wrestling sound, and it took a long time for you to get on the phone and say hello.
Yeah, we had been up, I think we had just fallen asleep, we probably up about 5, 6.
Well, I was afraid that you were winded. You were up till 5 or 6.
I vaguely remember talking to you, to be honest with you.
I called you as soon as I found out that it happened and where it was, because I knew that was your neighborhood.
I wasn't sure, I just kind of had a feeling that, that was that area, especially when they said Plumstead Road and 70, I was like, oh my goodness.
We heard him on, like when we were up, we were just downstairs in the shower, we turned on, Facebook, and they had a feed, like a
Live.
yeah, like a live, news deal going on, and they said something about, it was in North Putnam County, so I'm automatically assuming that if I'm heading east, that right there is gonna be Monterey, so clearly Baxter is west, and then Putnam, or Prescott south was south, and then Allgood was north, so I was like, oh, I don't know, that's what I thought, I'm clearly wrong, but I was thinking, oh, we're fine, we're absolutely fine, and then all of a sudden, it was just, oh no, I wouldn't say all of a sudden, it was already dark, but it just started getting like really like daylight in like my backyard and like our neighborhood. It looked just almost like this right here in the back part of our neighborhood. But yeah, it's like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And then on the front side, it was like, and I have like a picture, but it's not like, it's like someone else took. But it was like dark, like the sky was dark and it was like dark clouds. And it was like dark and gray clouds that came together and it just bulged. There was nothing, no phone or anything that came down. There was just a bulge, and that's all that it was. And it was really weird. Have you seen that movie on Netflix called like The Tall Grass? Alright, have you? So in that movie, it's like everything stands still, and like even like the grass, even like every blade of grass, like just stands still, and that's what it was like. It was such an uncomfortable silence, like, and I was telling Marianne, like me and Danielle, like I put her and Taylor in the bathroom and like in the shower with some pillows, and we heard like this loud, what we thought was like a truck. And I was like, train? I was like, what? It was like, it's like a truck. I thought like a truck. I mean, I guess you can maybe find similarity to the train, but I remember telling, I was like, what the dummy is outside driving in this mess? Because at that point, like our house was like kind of like shaking, and like hail was hitting our window. And it was like, what dummies out there driving in the storm? Because that's what we thought initially. It was like, we get, tornado warnings all the time. Texas gives me like a tornado warning at least once or twice a month. That just be on the lookout. And so when she woke us up, like, that's what I initially thought. But sure enough, whenever we went downstairs, I laid on the couch, and for some reason I just could not go back to sleep. Although it was difficult to wake me up because I had taken the NyQuil that night to go to sleep from refereeing, which it takes me forever to fall asleep because, like I said, the adrenaline rush, so I needed something to knock me out, and it did. And so I'm downstairs, I just couldn't fall back to sleep, and I look outside because of what it looked like in the backyard. It was like it's daylight, and then look at the front, and that's when I seen that. And once I seen that, I went to the bathroom, and that's when we turned on like the phone and realized that. I guess when we took it serious was that it was like 2:13, a tornado warning had been issued. At 2:17, another one. At 2:25, another one. And so once that started occurring, it was like, okay, like something was about to happen. And sure enough, that's when we started filling the house and we started hearing the noises.
Did you feel the barometric pressure drop? Was it just like all of a sudden the denseness just hit?
I don't know, it was just weird. It was just like once we started getting all the warnings and stuff like that, and once I remember coming back out from it was like my son was like he was really scared, and then once we calmed him down, he was like, I want to play basketball, and so he gets his basketball, and we have like a basketball goal in the living room, and he's shooting basketball, inside the house, and because we didn't know the severity of it, and so we went back into the living room, and I seen outside, and that's when her and I just looked at each other. It was like everything was had stood still. It was such an I don't know, and I'm not trying to heighten up the situation. It was just an incredibly weird feeling. There was after the hell stuff at the windows, there was no wind blowing. There was no trees swaying. It was just everything was just really quiet.
That's the barometric pressure when it drops just before a tornado starts.
And that's what Danielle said. She's normally when hell it starts hailing, that's when it's the signs of tornadoes. I didn't know that, but it was like I said, I think that and seeing the gray clouds with the foliage in it, and just having my blinds pulled down, and I probably stared at it for a good 2 minutes just trying to figure it out, and just no.
Waiting to see if something formed.
But not even that, just in disbelief of that looks but no, that's not. It can't be and so. Yeah, it's there's no way. I've never living in East Tennessee. I mean, I don't think there's ever been one. I know in my existence, ever be a tornado. It just doesn't hit there. And I remember when I first got with Danielle, Ali used to go to bed she was 4 or 5. Sometimes she'd cry going to sleep. Would you promise a tornado's not gonna come? And she's just silly. And I wouldn't say silly. She's just been a kid. I was like, baby, there's never been a tornado that I know of ever hit in Tennessee, especially this area. I was we're fine. You don't ever have to worry about a tornado. Maybe this, that, and the other, but a tornado, you won't ever see them. And thank goodness she wasn't with us. She was grounded. She should have been with us because if I was at home, I would have made her stay home. But they didn't let her go with her mom. And so,
She was down by me by Rock Island.
Yeah, she was in Quebec. So I mean, which is good for her. Because the thing is her bathroom, as small as it is, was probably the safest place in the house. There would have been no room for me to go in there and walk through, and then because it's a half bathroom, and so I mean it worked out, but it was crazy. But that right there is nothing compared to some of the players that I have on my team, or even just people that I know in the community, which is even more insane because although they lost it all, lost every single bit of it. I mean they're out volunteering. Me and Miss Marianne, we went out, and we spent some hours out there, picking up and doing things. It was and I seen some of them, and it was at that time I had no idea that they lost everything, but yet they're out there doing the same thing her and I was doing, just trying to help whatever way they could. So
Bye, Emily. Have a good day in class.
My sister, she goes to school in Nashville because she's blind and she has to go for the school to blind, and she stays there throughout the week. And there was a school right next to her school, and she had to wake up at like 2 in the morning and go in the bathrooms, which a bunch of other kids, that school's huge. And
Cam's talking now, guys. Remember, in the circle, only one person talks.
and the school right next to hers, like probably on the same block, got completely destroyed, like down to the floor, and hers was fine, and she got bussed down the same day, like back to the day. I was really worried about her, because it was like right next to the school. Like, you could see the tornado through the windows of the school. But she got home and she wasn't really even worried about
Peter,
it.
if you would like to purchase one of the state basketball t-shirts that they will, go to the state on Wednesday, come to the front office to sign up, please. The cost is $15.
She's 14 now.
Well, no, he was telling me that he went out and volunteered too, and that the debris, the asbestos and stuff like that started bothering him, so he had to
It
stop.
choke you up?
But it still hurts. I mean, I planned on getting some masks, but I mean, I made a good but dumb decision of just going out. I mean, I went out in like a long sleeve t-shirt, some gloves, some jeans. I didn't have any like facial protection or anything. It was kind of dumb.
That's okay, a lot of people didn't have facial protection, the thing is, you just have to know what to handle and what not to handle,
Right.
and hopefully you had some guidance in that.
But we didn't have any facial protection. Like, I think you started choking up at one point. Like you started coughing quite a bit.
There's a lot of dust and debris that goes along with construction. And the only reason why I know so much about it is I survived Andrew in South Florida in 1992.
So you've seen this
And
before.
there was tornadoes inside of hurricanes, and most people don't know that.
Yeah, that's how.
And
it
I
starts.
saw, I actually worked for the DeBartolo company who owns San Francisco 49ers. They don't anymore, but they did at the time. And he started all the malls. DeBartolo started all the malls back in the 50s across this country. He's from Youngstown, Ohio.
Really?
And so I was the security director at a mall in Coral Springs. And when Andrew hit, we had to do the fundraiser for all of that. We got the police department, the Air National Guard, and it looked, the only way to describe it was a war zone. There was nothing, if you didn't know how to get around downtown or down in Miami, there was no street signs to look for, because there was with the hurricane that hit, NOAA said that it had broke their wind meter at 320 miles an hour is what the wind gusts were just with the hurricane. And that didn't also include tornadoes. And so trying to be part of the recovery and, helping people out, and there's still areas of Miami that are still devastated now, and that was in 92, and people just couldn't and chose not to rebuild. And so it's a horrible thing. The one thing I had was a lot of yells because I couldn't help out. Most of you guys don't know, but I had surgery on Friday the 28th. That's why I wasn't here. And so I've been recovering since then. So there was just no way I could, get out there and start walking amongst debris. I couldn't even put my boot on. So, but I mean, it was one of those emotions you feel.
Survivor's guilt.
No. I'm of service. That's who I am.
It's just all too real. I just find it's a little too real. I mean, you think like, yeah, it could happen, but it never will.
Well, no, you
it's
just
never
think you're
gonna happen.
invincible.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it brought it to the point, now.
And it's like,
Put it
okay,
in
now
like
we're
that.
here.
You know?
It's happening.
Sure.
I was with Ben and Nathan.
Are you?
Yeah. We were just hanging out.
Larry Moe and Curly.
We were actually making good decisions for once, okay?
Oh.
Really?
Listen here.
Is there a recording of this somewhere, please?
Okay.
Thankfully,
But
there's witnesses.
I was out like a light. I was asleep. Like, done. So, but I had conveniently woken up 20 minutes before 2 o'clock. So, because I fell asleep at like 8, I was like, I'm gonna take a little nap. They're like, okay. So, I fell asleep, and then 5 hours later, here we are, like 1:30, and we're hanging out. And then you just hear bang, 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 just this loud, like, spinning, just ringing. It was so loud that, and Ben slept right through it, and we were like, yeah, wake up, and he wouldn't wake up, so I just gave him a real quick right to the face. He's like, he stands up, he's ready to fight. I was like, dude, I think World War III just started. This can wait. So we were at my house, but we heard it all the way from my house, and she knows where I live. Like it's far from where.
See, the thing is, the clouds came from the south, from the southwest, the west. It stayed right along 40 on the north side.
And then didn't it just ride 70 and destroy everything else?
And well, no, there was actually 12 tornadoes they figured out. And for some reason, it got stronger and stronger and stronger as it came
Instead
west.
of dissipating.
And then after it hit Putnam, it actually hit past Monterey.
Yeah.
As like frontline winds.
I did not know that.
And so, yeah, the thing is,
They said it hit.
So I still identify
it. Would come down and hit and then pop right
it
back up.
would, but the thing is every time it would come down, that would be one tornado, go back up, the system moved, that's another tornado.
That's the scary thing. If it ever hit in the eastern state, it's
It
like
jumps.
it's like a bowl. So all it would do is just keep going up and gain momentum as it came right back down. Like
Where was this?
Like, I'm saying if it ever like hit.
No, usually once it hits, and this is indicative of tornadoes, is that if it comes down to a valley and goes up, as it goes up, it loses
Just
its
one more
pressure
announcement
because it gains
also about the
elevation.
teachers. We are taking orders for
I think that's
teachers.
just-
That will be in by
No,
today.
that's not
So it is
true.
not.
Mountains.
I created history teacher told me that. So
Yeah,
if
no.
it did, it
It's not like a half pipe.
Yeah, that's what I was like. That's exactly what I thought. I was like, so it- like
Yeah,
getting
no,
on
it goes up because I actually had a tornado hit by my house 5 miles away. And the thing was, is it came up the gorge, and as it came up the gorge, it went up one side of the mountain, and it just dissipated because it got higher and higher and higher in elevation. And then it hit over in Fall Creek Falls.
And you can
So,
see.
but it goes usually from the southwest to the northeast because that's where all the winds were coming from. And then from the north was coming the colder weather, so that's what made it the perfect storm.
Gotcha. And you can see, and that's what I was telling Miss Rand this morning, like on 70, which is like where Plunk Woodson is, like where we live, like I mean, there's a lot of damage clearly, and like of course, like she said, like back where I live, like there's not really anything, but like they for some reason there was no police officers. The route I take to go to the gym, and that's where they have blocked off like this entire time. So I take that way, and every tip of a mile, the police officers at. I'm telling you, like. You can see where the tornado, like, I guess came down, and once it hit,
Just
it
stayed.
freaking drug.
Yes.
And when it did, it just, like, hit, I mean, it's, oh my gosh, like the destruction of it all is, like, insane.
He
So,
got damaged.
it just looks crazy because, like, it looks like as if, I didn't know it hit Monterey, because the whole time I was.
Well, it was east of Monterey, it was a small town, it was frontline winds, it was zero, it was like zero, but those were what they consider frontline winds.
Gotcha. And so literally, because what it looks like is that the last little part of Clinton County that it hit, which is where like the Tiger Market is, looks like a little apartment complex there. So it's like Candy Creek on the other side. It looks like it just went like.
Yeah.
So, but you're saying it came up and went over towards Monterey?
The storm went back up, that tornado dissipated, and then as the storm moved east, frontline winds, that tornado, they call it an F0, came down. It didn't touch down, but the frontline winds of it came down and
Gotcha.
pushed through. So they had some damage, but nothing, just, it's like up to 75-mile-an-hour winds. So with all the rain, it will take the trees out, I had like 27 trees go down from frontline
They
winds.
say between us and Nashville, there's $188 million damage. So
That would probably be
That
accurate. I'm actually thinking that's a conservative figure considering the homes and everything
in the
that's happened.
skyscraper in Nashville.
Well, there's like a lot of controversy. Like every day looks like a national radio station that kind of demeans. Like,
Yes. Oh, it's all over Facebook. It's some young kid
Oh, saying like,
making derogatory comments about how uneducated and ignorant the people are over here.
yeah,
They
he's like,
couldn't
if
do
they
anything
were
about it.
smarter, they wouldn't. If they were smarter and their houses were built better, then they wouldn't have been hit. So.
Was that the 107?
Yeah.
I wondered what he said.
So
What a
needless to say, it
Wonder
was
how-
very, well, here's the thing is that when you think about it, it's very mean. That's mean, nasty. That's vindictive because
They just
these people have nothing. They're trying to do, and people are helping out. How dare you disparage the people that are wanting to help out? You
Right,
know what
and
I'm saying?
imagine the
Because
people that all they have is like a radio to listen to for
some of them
entertainment and
don't
just
even have that. They were
Right.
on their cell phones.
right, and then they say you're too stupid to survive a tornado.
Yeah.
That's a hit right
Well,
in the
that wasn't
heart.
even it, are you too stupid to, pick up the pieces from this? And it was just like, what, that's an ignorant comment.
Yeah.
And it's really disparaging
Nashville's
when
And
you
they-
think about it.
There was his other co-hosts, like on the news, like, or the radio, they were trying to like.
Get him to
yeah,
stop
get him to
talking.
stop talking, like.
But he just overloaded the brain, overloaded the mouth with no brain. And so
And you kind of hate for him because you could tell he had sympathy for what had happened.
he
but
couldn't
you
have
can-
sympathy to make that kind of a comment.
Well, I think he did, but then he was like, I think he genuinely thinks that, people here like aren't.
This is a college town. Do you know how many educated people that go to TTU live here and stay here
That's what
after
I'm
they
saying,
left
like,
college?
but like.
Yeah, it's,
for some
there's a
reason,
lot of
he
educated
thought that.
people in this
I think
town.
he was like ignorant because he was uninformed and does not know that literally the intelligence that are in this game. But at the same time too, at that time, I don't think he knew that it picked up like a F1, 2, and before.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
No.
You're absolutely right. But I'm trying to understand.
You're trying to rationalize an irrational statement, and there's no excuse, there's no explaining. To be perfectly honest, the thing is that, unfortunately, people get really dumb. And then there's somebody starting up making phone calls saying he's the Cookeville Police Department wanting to take donations, and it's not the Cookeville Police Department. So if any of you guys let your parents know, if anybody gets a phone call, someone advising that they're the Cookeville Police Department, they're not, and they're not. They're not
That's
accepting any, it's a scam, and someone's trying to make profit off of the carnage that's happened. And it is.
See, we heard, or I was sleeping actually in the living room, and we heard, when I was woken up, because it was like, I heard the tornado sirens, and I thought it was just.
That's what,
Like-
Jeff, do you guys have, I don't mean to interrupt your hand, did you guys have tornado sirens where you're at?
No.
Okay,
Oh, they were very
Didn't
loud.
either.
okay.
Where you live?
Our dogs, you know where
Huh?
dogs, right? I live on 12th Street.
Got you. There were a lot of like lights that just fly like in every direction.
That was the
flashing.
tornado hitting that, they hit the transformers that's on the light poles, that's what causes that.
Really?
Yeah, because the
If
thing
I'd
is,
have known that and seen that, I probably would have lost it. Like,
maybe it's a good thing you did know, because when I've done so many hurricanes down in Florida. No, the thing is when the tornado hits and you see a flash of light, it's taking out a transformer. That's the electrical power being pulled.
There was a
Or
bunch
the
of them
power,
online.
the power pole being pulled over. And so that's what that flash is the disconnect of the electricity. And then there's the problem of the down live power lines. So, and they're just as extremely dangerous and they start fires, so.
Ben being the absolute super genius he is, looked right into the transformer as it was falling.
So,
Take it right to the eye. He didn't notice what it was, he was just kinda like, he just woke up,
but the thing is those are transformers that light poles are going down. It's that cylinder box that's on there. It's the break of the power, so. I'm sorry, Thomas, go ahead.
Our house, well, I just woken up because I actually had heard the sirens, and I thought it was like a fire truck or an ambulance. I was like, okay, and I heard my phone go off, and I thought it was just an Amber Alert. So I was like, oh, okay. And then I didn't realize because it was 2 a.m. in the morning, and I was thinking, and I just woke up. So I went to the bathroom, and then my mom was like, it's an Amber Alert, and I still was not an Amber Alert, but a tornado warning. I still wasn't looking up, and so I just went into my bed, and my room, which actually I would have gotten completely killed because our house is like, the middle bedroom is like really out to like, out of the house, it's like 3 feet. So this way, and so anyway, like, I woke up and like again, and my mom was just like, wake up, wake up, wake up. And then like, and my cousin even wasn't even woke. She did not hear any sirens or anything like that, but Percy, our dog, he was barking and barking and barking and barking because he knew something was up.
No, it's the barometric pressure on their ears. It hurts their ears. So when you have a barometric pressure go so low, it hurts an animal's ears because they're so
We had
sensitive.
to plug my dog's
And
ears.
so that's what that, just so you know, that's what that is.
And so my mom was like, we need to get in the bathroom, and I immediately was like, I had woken up because she actually scared me, and I was like, I grabbed her and pulled her actually out of bed, and like with one arm, and we just ran to the bathroom. We were just like covered our heads in that. So
The best thing you can do is if you go into a bathroom and you're on the upper level of the house, grab a mattress, pull it behind you, fold it in half, put it behind you, because if you put it above you and the debris that comes down, it's thick enough that it'll stop a lot of things. Because most tornadoes, the debris doesn't go this way, it goes this way. So it's just a note, just a note to know. So, well, I'm so proud of everybody that volunteered.
I wanted to
Give me
volunteer,
1
but
minute,
my grandma thought I was gonna
and
get
I'll be right
hurt,
back.
so.
see, there's so many
You can't hear
volunteers.
us without being
We
on the
called
phone.
and we couldn't volunteer. There's so many.
You know, they did, and it was kind of good because the people that were volunteering that I was watching, I haven't been taking off all the Putnam County Sheriff's Office emails and alerts and stuff like that. So, I had gotten the alert,
Kiddo, are you leaving now? Is it just for class?
Yeah.
Okay.
so I was getting the alerts, you know, all sworn personnel need to show up, go here, don't even call on the radio, just show up and, the command posts and stuff. So at that point, I knew it was pretty heavy duty and then experiencing tornadoes, experiencing hurricanes, experiencing all that stuff. Unfortunately, I have. So I was just like, you know, talking to a lot of people, keeping everybody educated on what was going on up here. The only thing that really touched me was that anybody that was hurt, Cookeville Regional did not charge them for any of their injuries. And I, well, but here's the thing is that people started showing up after all of this to donate blood. So the fact is, but after going through all the hurricanes, not once ever down in South Florida did I ever see Lowe's is giving out free materials for people to rebuild their homes. We didn't see that down in South Florida. You still had to purchase it. You still had to go. There was a lot of people who couldn't fix their houses because they couldn't afford to, but there was no company at that point in time willing to do something like they're doing. So when you think about your community and you think that they don't care, I hope this is a lesson for everybody to know that they really do. They really truly do. People care and they don't have to know you to care.
I went down where I was volunteering at, and I mean, I was distraught seeing these people's houses, and it wasn't even mine. But the craziest part about all of it was the people who had just lost everything were still cracking up jokes, having a good time.
Because they
Like,
were
there was a
so
guy-
grateful.
There was a guy just sitting there, just laughing. He just cracked a beer, looked at his house, and just started laughing.
He's grateful because he could have died.
Yeah. And, like I asked one of the people who I was like, how can you be happy? I was like, what's there to be happy about? She goes, I can walk on these two legs. And I was like, fair enough. Can't say I blame you.
And see, the thing is when, it's an unfortunate thing, but the message, a lot of kids needed to see this and understand this because how many times have I heard, I don't care, I wanna run or jump off a cliff, I wanna run off a bridge, I wanna do this. You know what, you have no idea how close you could be to death. And it is a blink of an eye.
And then she was like, I mean, even if I don't have a house, I know I'm still welcome under God's roof. And like, if anything, it was like, maybe Jesus is real. Like, maybe
It's a
I'm
belief.
wrong. Like,
It's a belief system. It's a belief, but you believe it.
it made me take a step back for a second. I started like questioning myself.
Aiden questioning himself, wow.
I've never been wrong before. but I might
Oh,
be
you've been
wrong.
wrong a couple times. You've been wrong a couple times. You just didn't accept it. But the growth that I'm seeing with these statements from you, Amy, is I'm liking it because you reflected on yourself when you saw other people going through it. You had an emotional response. That is huge.
They were just chilling. They were
I know, but that's huge.
Hanging out.
Did you understand what I'm saying? That is huge for you to have an emotional response. That was positive.
I was like, it is really confusing because little kids playing ball outside, just kicking around a soccer ball, running around, arguing over who got the goal. Like, it sounded like, like if I were to close my eyes and hear all the chatter and stuff, it sounded like a perfect utopia. The second I opened my eyes, boom, World War III. Like, it was.
But when you learn the value of your breath and you learn the value of life, is what you learn.
I just, and my dad was like, "Hey, do you hear that?" I was like, "What?" He was like, "They're happy." I was like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "They're happy." I was like, "Yeah," and he's like, "You get upset when you have to do the dishes."
Good point.
And I
So
was like, "Well, they don't have dishes to do, so they don't have to worry about that anymore." He's like, "They also don't have a house to sleep in." I was like, "Fair enough."
Desi's house is,
yeah, gone. Tasia's is gone too.
it's not totally gone, it's just like not livable, and
Yeah.
so there are 7 people in her family are living in one hotel room.
Did they get excused absences to all the people who lost their homes?
Well, we were supposed to pick one up, but they weren't where they were supposed to be, and we couldn't go down in the affected area. See, our bus usually goes down Benton Young to County Farm, and then we hit 70 because we pick up a student on our way. And then we go west on 70, and I've been riding that for the last 3 years. And today, they had barricades there across County Farm Road. We had to take Pippin. But the bus driver said, well, this is where we're supposed to pick up this person, and if they're not here, we're just supposed to go on, and we didn't see anybody. And so, it's gonna be an unexcused it's not gonna be unexcused, it's gonna be an absent for her. So, but the kids that I just sent prayers.
The audacity of
Well,
this.
no, I
makes them
sent
young.
prayers to the
Makes me
little
so
elementary schools and sitting in front of me, and this boy, he's not coping with what happened. This was a very traumatic
If
incident.
I were 5 or 6 years old and this came at me, I
He was
would
more
know
like,
to
he was
do-
more like 7, but still traumatic.
I mean,
because he lost everything. They were in their house when it collapsed.
had to put the big boy pants on there for a second because Ben's like had to watch his baby brother, and Nathan had to watch his baby brother. So they brought him to my house because my mom loves babies, and she wanted to meet Ben's little brother. She's always wanted to. So she was like, yeah, you can come on over with the baby all he wants. I mean, she's like, I've been through two or three of them. I took an adopted toddler, which was my stepdad's son, and she was like, I had 2 babies. I mean, I know what I'm doing, and I wanted to meet the baby, and then her mom was finally
How old's the baby?
a year. And then Amber, which is Ben's mom, was like, okay, fine. Like, she's like, I'm happy. She was like, okay, I mean, I'm sure that you know what you're doing. I know Ben knows what he's doing. And
I'm not sure Ben knows what he's doing.
no, he does know what he's doing. That's the one thing that I'll give him credit for.
Do y'all want to talk? Would you like to
You
talk?
okay?
I don't really have anything to talk about.
You
Were
want
you
to tell
scared?
the story of it?
There's not really anything to tell.
What about you, Reggie?
It's just sad.
Yes.
Devastating.
One of my friends, did you see on the missing persons list Stephanie Lander? She was at like the bottom of the list. That's my friend's mom. Their house is like right across, like literally straight across from Echo Valley Market, and their house wasn't touched. But their mom went missing. That's like my childhood friends.
How does her mom do
That they found her?
Yeah, I think they found her.
Well, here's how, most people wanna know how a tornado hits one house and not another house.
They found.
Well, it wobbles, that the air, it wobbles, it moves, it's constantly flowing, and so that's why it'll hit one house, go, like 4 or 5, houses down, hit that house, and then come across the street, and it wobbles.
Like, those old games used to play. What, you know what?
Pinball?
Pinball.
It just wobbles, and it's a hit and miss, and it depends on which side of the tornado you're on. Because if you're on the front side, you're gonna hit the harder side, like the northeast side of it. But if you're on the southeast side of the tornado, it's not gonna be as intense. Because it's spinning this way and it's hitting hard, it's coming around this way, where this is where it's losing its energy.
And I mean, if it hits
So-
something, it's gonna slow down.
Well, not necessarily, it just depends on how much energy.
Or is
is
it
in
going
it.
so fast?
Well, was that upsetting to you?
I was a little worried, but they're okay.
Nobody, none of my family or family friends were injured. Like,
Good.
my sister's boyfriend, their neighbor on both sides doesn't exist. Like, their house is foundation. Like, they cleared out the
The
debris.
talk.
My bad.
Go ahead.
I was just talking about how, like, my sister's boyfriend, or their house, neighbors on both sides don't exist. All they have is foundation on both sides. Like, not even walls or debris, because I cleared out all the debris. It's just a flat platform. And their house is perfectly fine. Untouched.
To say that like, I wish I could have volunteered, but like, kinda didn't want to at the same time, because I didn't want to find like a dead body or something, that one of the people that had gone missing.
No, they found everybody that was reported missing, but they did find a body at
It's a homicide.
somebody's house that had been there for a while.
Didn't they find skeletal remains?
That'd be a
That's-
homicide. Because nobody would have decomposed that fast.
So was it like a home?
It was a homicide.
And nobody knew about
Right.
it until now?
They found it, in one of the houses that was damaged, when law enforcement was going through it, they came across skeletal remains that had been unburied from the tornado at a house in Putnam County.
Is it?
Do you think it could have been like
No,
pulled up
because
from the
they, no,
cemetery
because,
and then
no,
brought
I
in?
thought about that, no, but it had been there a while, it was in the ground. And, no, I don't know, I think it was in the ground because I think the tree pulled it up, is what I understand.
And I mean, nobody would have decomposed that
I
fast.
haven't heard anything on the news about that.
Oh, it was on the news.
Was it
Yeah,
the
it's on
baby
the
girl
news.
that? had
No,
been found?
no, that's over in 3 counties over, it says nothing. You're talking about Evelyn Boswell.
Dude, that story's so
What?
sad.
What happened with that?
Well, here's the thing, the baby had not been seen since Christmas, it's less than a year old. The mom wouldn't tell where it was, the
And then
grandmother
Casey
wouldn't tell where it was, it just disappeared. Mom and her boyfriend went to South Carolina,
They were very suspicious about it too.
extremely. In fact, so much
Casey
so,
Anthony.
so it was similar to Casey Anthony, but the thing is they've arrested the mom and the grandmother.
They found the
And
little
they were
girl on
able
their
to
property.
they found the remains and tested it, and it is the baby. I mean, I'm calling it a baby because it's not even 2 years old. Remains in the dirt on a family property.
And didn't the autopsy show like severe abuse?
No, it couldn't, because the thing is it had been disappeared enough that you can't really see that unless there's like broken bones or whatever. And so they've arrested mom. This was just before, well, this has been going on a couple weeks before, and they had found it just right after the tornado hit.
Who was talking about that? She was like,
So she was just a baby. We're talking about adorable baby.
Not younger than Casey Anthony's kid. Was
Casey Anthony's kid
Like
was like
3 or 4.
3 or 4, and this baby's just over a year old, 13, 14 months old. But the family members is what went to the police and said, we haven't seen this child in so long, and we're concerned. And they let us, the mom was saying, I don't know what happened to her, she just wasn't here any longer. And then they put out this card, it was a BMW, and the first thought I had was like, oh my God, she sold the baby to somebody and now it's saying it's been kidnapped, or, I don't know
I
what
was kind of
happened.
worried about human trafficking.
Well, I wasn't worried about that, but that's what I thought, that was my first thought. And then it turned out that they were searching a lake in South Carolina where the grandmother was. And the reason why I know about that is it's not far from the county where my best friend is the chief of police. And so that's how I heard about that going on. And then it was right after the tornado hit that they had in one of the days of reporting the tornado, they had mentioned that TBI had located, with help from a family member, helped them, and they found the body of this baby on the family's property.
You have to know something's wrong if, like, the parents haven't reported the child missing.
Yes,
Like, if my child was
Yes.
missing, I would be in contact with the
Especially a
police
one-year-old
that day.
yes. Oh,
It's not like they got up and
I mean,
walked away. like,
if I couldn't find
1-year-old.
my child 20 minutes later, I'm dialing 911. Something's wrong.
Yeah,
My baby was in its
something's
grave. Something's wrong.
Yeah.
That didn't happen.
That's how you know, like,
It's just
Well,
like that lady.
I thought you guys were talking about that case in, where the
Idaho?
17-year-old.
Yes, that's in Idaho.
And the autistic
Yes,
brother had
yes.
disappeared.
The last place that they were at was Yellowstone National Park. What a convenient place to disappear. With all the geysers, and they have glacier heating their pools. They're like 400 and some degrees. If you threw somebody in there, they would disintegrate, because that's how hot the water is, because it comes straight from the middle of the earth. And there's so many wild animals out there. All they'd have to do is go to a remote camping site, kill them, and leave them for the bears and for the cougars and the badgers and the wolves. And they've been missing since September of last year. They finally arrested the mom in Hawaii and
And they-
transported her back,
How can
extradited
you
her.
be, like, if your kids are gone, how do you just go to Hawaii?
Okay, well, no,
Like,
no, it gets better. It gets better. This case I've actually been following. Her husband died. It was ruled an accidental death, and his wife, the boyfriend or new husband, his wife died. And they never made the connection at the time. Then her brother died. And her kids are disappeared. The grandparents said, we haven't seen the children by then. Then they have been disappeared in November.
and you just don't even call anybody? and
I mean,
say,
your mom, you didn't call the police, didn't say anything, nothing. So the thing was,
I gotta
is
be hysterical.
the
And I
average,
definitely wouldn't
the
be on
average human
vacation
being
somewhere.
would be, especially for an autistic child. Especially for an autistic child. But he would never go without his 17-year-old sister, so, but the fact is still, if you can't find the kids, you're in Yellowstone, you need to be concerned.
Yeah, it's not like they.
We're talking real
What do you
Wild
think
West
they
here,
did?
you know?
Yeah,
You know, we're talking animals that will eat you, buffalo
they
ring
ought to be put
over.
in jail just for not reporting it.
But
That ought to
here's
be
the
a
thing
crime.
is what they have found out since then is that they believe her brother killed her husband for her. And he helped her boyfriend kill his wife. So then they killed him, so there was nobody gonna report anything. But then they had the problem of the children. He didn't want any children, so they've been hiding out with some people that I guess he's some part of a cult of some kind. And because he had deformities and disabilities, he wasn't considered welcome. And then all of a sudden, nobody saw the children anymore. And then they disappeared, and they would talk to law enforcement through an attorney. Well, no, come talk to us. We're talking about your children. We don't need to talk to your
And you
attorney.
wouldn't have to.
Yeah, and then you leave.
If you're innocent, you would have nothing that you would want to be talking to the police.
Sure, sure.
I would.
Well, sure, no, you would. Well, you wouldn't have disappeared with your children missing.
No, never.
So anyway, they have because the husband was not cremated and neither was his wife, they have dug up their bodies and with warrants, search warrants, and they're being examined and toxicologies are being done where it wasn't before. And the brother's body is being exhumed.
Well, that body they found in Putnam County at the house, is it like old bones or is it?
They said it was there, it had been there for a while, but they didn't say how long. They didn't give much information toward that.
How
It'd
long
be
does it
like
take for
really
a body to
old.
be-
No, it's not that
It
old.
was decomposed, but there would still be on the bones.
Yes,
Therefore, meaning it couldn't have been so long that it's just a skeleton.
yeah, it wasn't bones.
There was meat on those.
And if
bones.
there was an old person, there would have been nothing but
Like it's
skeletons.
not from the 1900s or something where a family
No.
member just buried their
No.
family member at their property.
No,
And the fingernails were still short.
Well, I don't even think that's kind of like a misnomer Hollywood thing.
It's fine.
It does, but it doesn't grow to the rate that you would think that it would grow.
No, they say that their fingernails were like just cut.
Yeah, so.
Like they
But-
hadn't grown at all.
So, but yeah, so there was a body that turned up inadvertently because of the tornado. So somebody's gonna go to jail for homicide.
Or if they're even alive,
That could be true, so I don't know. But-
then how are they gonna prove anything now? All
Well,
the,
the thing is
evidence
because
will
there's
be
muscle,
destroyed.
no, if there's muscle there, they can still see if there's any broken bones, if there's any fractures, if there's any bullet holes because of,
poison,
well, that would still be in the tissue.
right?
So they could do a tissue
I know, but
toxicology.
how are they gonna prove that anybody had anything to do, like who had anything to do with that?
Talking with the family, usually somebody gets pissed off that their family member was killed. I don't know if somebody reported them as missing, and a lot of times if they're adults and they say they're missing and they have a tendency to wander off, they'll be less likely to think about, it being a homicide. So, but yeah, that also came up in the office.
What's scary to me is like, I always thought if I had a basement, that I was safe, like even if there was a tornado, I thought, oh, well, you're safe if you have that, but it's like, hey, no, I'm not, but like, the SRO officer that was here on Wednesday, we opened on Thursday, in case any kids wanted to come up here, and I was talking to him, and he said that it picked people's houses up and dropped it right back down on top of them, so even if they were in the basement, they did not live.
They were stuck.
And I thought, once we're in the basement, you're safe.
So they say have a separate shelter, like off your house. Like in your backyard, they say to have a special shelter that is not connected to your
Under your,
It can't be connected to your home anymore. It needs to be separate.
and how many times do you hear tornado warnings and think, oh, God, another tornado? Like, I don't even get out of bed, so,
Yeah.
like, that one went off on my phone, and it was like 2 o'clock, and I was sleeping, and I heard it go off, and then I heard my husband's phone go off, and I thought, oh, it's just saying flood warning. I didn't even look at it.
I usually wake up and I stay up until the warning goes away, but I don't take any of the precautions they say to take.
It's totally random. I'm
Would
like,
you,
you have
would
no-
you change that habit
Oh
now?
no, yeah, that's not happening no more.
I'm just asking guys, that's a general question
Or
for
like when
everybody.
we have these drills, tornado drills here.
We had one the day before.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I was at PCM, and I, actually needed to write that down, because I don't want her to be upset about that, because I didn't write, I wrote my time in there, but she just said you weren't here, I was like, I didn't put PCM. But anyway, at PCM, we were talking about, oh, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow, because it was cold and rainy, and then we had that Thursday off, because Friday, it came snowing, and they were worried about getting kids home on the buses, so that's why they canceled school that day, because the roads in Monterey were turning out real slick and cold from overnight, and it was gonna stay, and then it dumped all the snow. And I remember thinking, I'm laying in the hospital getting ready to have surgery, and I'm like, what is all that? Because it's snow. I was like, that snow coming down? It was sticking to the cars, it was sticking to the roads, it was just big flakes. And then we came back to school the next week, and it was just like, 2 more weeks till spring break. Wouldn't it be nice if we had off? And then all hell broke loose. And I was like, I told Miss Marianne, I says, she says, aren't you glad you had this time to recover? I said, I am, but I didn't want it this way. I didn't want it.
Right, but you needed time to recover.
Sure, I did, but the thing was, it was just
Like
like,
that day you were here, I was like, this is not good, her legs need to swell.
yeah, it did, it swelled pretty bad. So,
Second chance for us this year.
you guys got the other one?
Thank you,
Liz.
Hey, you know the man that I was going to show me some stuff?
I did not know that. I didn't know any of those things.
I do it, but you know they couldn't.
Because I said, because I, her friend's house, got this group.
It looks rough.
It's been ages since I had a good quality sausage biscuit. Yeah.
Yes, my mom does. No, he's rich. Really? And I almost got that mad. Got that wrong. So, but.
What, that you didn't get to volunteer?
Yeah, his mom told him no because he was grounded.
I think that's messed up. Like, that's not like, you should be grounded from volunteering to help.
No, I was grounded before.
Okay, yeah, I get that, but you
I've
should
been
be
grounded
grounded.
for a month already.
What I tried to do was I tried to go
I don't think volunteering is a thing that you should be like.
Like, wow, this person's house is like, help his friend. So, yeah. I understand that. But yet, my little sister got it. I can barely lift 20 pounds. And she's a
All I
girl.
know is, it's worn me out. Physically, mentally, emotionally, or all of the above. All of the above.
All of the above.
Yeah.
Volunteering helped me, wore me out physically. Emotionally, because I felt all the guilt. Mentally, because there's so much on my mind, so many what ifs.
So what did you do there?
So
When you get done?
I did absolutely nothing. Well, at the time I was away, perfectly away, since on weekends I'm in a house.
You know, Jeff said, are you talking?
Yeah,
Oh, sorry, Denny.
on weekends I'm typically a night owl, so I could stay up till the crack of dawn.
it was a day off, it was election day off.
Yeah, that's why I said, I stay up till the crack of dawn. My mother comes into my room, tells me to get with my niece and nephew, because she says there's tornadoes, alarms and sirens and all that. After that, nothing happened. The occasional gust of rain here and there. So I went back to doing nothing. Next day, we needed to go to Cookville. My mother thought I'd hit Buffalo, so we went down 70 instead. Oh, we were wrong. Dead wrong. Well, we got directed to this small road that apparently was where all these fancy rich houses were. And it was just nothing. All you could see was little bits of wood here and there.
Was it Buffalo Valley?
My mother thought that was the road that got hit, so we went 70. This small little road on the side of 70. And then there was this weird, besides the houses, I saw this weird like saran wrap and paper stuff hanging from a power line. Crazy.
That was probably,
You were driving in the storm?
No, not this
the
one,
day
after.
the day after.
Oh.
He said his mom thought that Buffalo Valley Road got hit, so they went 70, and so he was talking about all the debris and stuff.
One of my cross kids went chasing this morning. And then the car got totaled.
Do I know?
One of my cross kids went out chasing like the storm, because they didn't know it was gonna be as it was. They were in the Mustang. They picked the car up and I guess I threw it however far. And it totaled their car. It's still sitting over there. Ironically, in the Love Shack parking lot.
Why would
Love
you be
Shack
so?
gone?
I don't know.
William's auto sales.
I don't think so. From what I can see this morning, a lot is gone.
When they're running my road, chase the tornado down with no experience of what you're doing.
Teenagers, that's.
Teenagers who think they're missing.
Somebody
Because we
without
are.
a prefrontal cortex.
Really?
So,
We have one.
sometimes.
There's not.
Ah!
Ever.
You
Hey,
guys,
why do
you
you
gotta
think no
talk
teenagers
one at
talk?
a time or it turns into a giant mess.
Little bit. That was preteen.
So, anyway. Miss Marion, how did you and yours fare?
Oh, you're fine. I slept through it.
My grandma and my uncle heard the moms and it was gonna be bad and they were just like, let's just stay in bed.
We got up and like Bobby woke me up at like 5:15 and I was sleeping in because it was in a school day. And he said, "Aren't you supposed to get up?" And I said, "I'm not going to work today." And he goes, "Oh, well, Judy and Alex lost their house last night." And I was like, "What?" And I thought he meant there was a fire or something. And so I got out of bed and went upstairs to look because they had posted it on Facebook. And I was like, "What happened?" And he said there was a tornado. And that's when I started looking at Facebook and saw all those pictures. And then I started calling all the kids, make sure they were okay.
Yeah, my mother got that message as we were going in the, like, right before we went to the towns.
So that's proof I can.
Say what?
I reached out to Miss Marianne.
Really?
Yeah, and it's interesting from somebody that says that he doesn't care about anybody, that he actually found out he cares about
Well, I don't
stuff.
ever know. I would've been like, hey man,
I was
hope
glad
you're
to hear that you guys were okay.
And then
Well,
that
I knew
morning-
Miss Marianne said she was calling everybody, so I knew she was jumping on the spot, so I had no concerns.
I
And one
kinda
of my
expected it.
friends was trapped in her house. It was right across the street from Echo Valley Market. Like, and she called me and she said, "I don't have any water, and can you bring me water?" And so I went and got waters from Sam's. They weren't letting people in, but they let me in. And I was trying to get down to her, and she said, "I've been watching them pull bodies out of this, out of the apartments that were by Echo Valley Pool all morning."
About 4 died.
Mhm.
All the top 4 people died.
And she was sitting there watching them pull it out, but they were trapped in their house because a tree had fallen on it and their car and stuff. But I mean, they were all okay. But I couldn't get water to her, and she was hysterical. And I said, "The police aren't letting me down there." And she said, "You've got to find a way to get down here."
Just walking.
And so I called that number
I think you're a looter.
and gave them their names and said, there's 2 adults and, no, there were 3 adults and 3 kids in the house and they're trapped in there. And so they said they would go check on her. And I just kept calling her, and service was coming in and out that day.
That was terrible. I didn't have water for the first. So the day of, it hit the water company. And then the second day, they were still trying to damage control. By the third day, I had the water back. Service is still shot. In my house, like, it's still 1 to 2 bars max.
Mine goes in and out.
And then,
I wonder if there was any towers checking that.
Yeah.
For what? Cell service?
yeah,
Yeah, I went to AT&T and they said they lost 50 towers from here to Nashville.
Please, just because you belong to AT&T, somebody I know is going through all kinds of craziness. Do you have anybody on your phone, like a cell phone line other than you and Danielle?
Yeah, her mom or dad.
Okay. Well, if somebody, let's say her mom wants to get somebody else a phone and a new line, she can put it on your bill and you guys would be stuck paying it and paying for the phones.
Yes, I was aware of that, but in this situation, it's her dad, so if I want to.
But no, I'm just saying, one of my friends, her daughter, she got her a phone and a phone line when she was 14 years of age. She's now in her 20s. She's still on the same phone line. Wasn't living at home, went to AT&T, bought 2 new phones at $1,000 each, 2 new lines, and then her and her boyfriend sold one of the phones for $100.
Oh my
Were
gosh.
they on drugs?
I think so.
Well, listen,
And-
the only way they can do that is if the mom made her
Mom.
an administrative user.
No,
She had to.
no,
I'm telling you.
I promise you, I saw the contract, no, but they did that, in Georgia.
Maybe
They wanted to sell so bad, and they said, well, she's listed as on this plan, so she can do this. And she says, no, it's my contract. When I put her on here, she was a minor, she's an adult. You don't have the right to add anybody else to my contract.
Right.
And they did, so
I've never
just
heard
pay
that.
attention. I never have either, but she's living it through this, and it's gonna come down to her daughter being arrested for fraud.
Yeah, that right there, yeah,
Did
it's gotta
she
be.
cut the phone off?
No. So here's the thing is,
That's what she was doing. She must have impersonated her mom.
she showed her driver's license. No, she even gave her driver's license to show she was the
That's
same
crazy.
person. It was crazy, but AT&T's allowing us.
I went to AT&T because we had a free upgrade and ended up paying $500. Like I had to pay $141 for my phone to be paid off, the one I have right now, and then I had to pay $153 for the other phone to be paid off, and then $243 of sales tax for the new phone that I got. So, but we were informed that it'd be.
But you got your upgrade, right?
No, it's not. I didn't do that. I walked out of no phone with $500. I hate this place.
What phone
That's
did you
hysterical.
Wanna hear what a good
11
friend did
Max
for
Pro.
me?
Yeah, is that like the newest one?
I lost my cell phone when I was out digging, we were out volunteering.
Out of the bathroom.
And Jeff went back there to the place that I lost it. Like, I went home and got a new phone
She's lying.
immediately. Jeff went back and got my phone, found it for me, and brought it to me the next day at school.
Now, what phone do you have now, the 10?
To make,
You should give me your phone.
Bobby's already using it. He broke his.
I mean,
But you know what I'm saying? It's just, it's kind of crazy, but yeah. It's just that
That's not how money works.
I just-
If you, take out your Christmas money for money, get your phone, but.
I don't have to take out my piercings to make it.
I'm just, if there's any questions you guys have about tornadoes and devastations and stuff like that, please don't hesitate to talk.
All I know is when you're doing that. I
No.
haven't had a wink of sleep in,
Yeah, I haven't slept very well.
yeah.
I'm really tired.
My parents didn't really care because I was brick walls. Be like, there's
Brick walls
houses
still go
that.
down.
Oh, yeah, no, they
I
got
saw a
it.
church
Never just
where
destroyed.
one of the walls got completely taken out. All it was there was the lining of insulation.
That's exactly right.
There's
There's a house that's literally just
That the
walls.
chimney was the only.
In Prosperity, it's just
Yeah.
gray. It took off.
Do you think that you, just because you have a brick house, it's going to withstand that?
No, I just have 2 brick walls, and they thought that I would be okay. You know, don't wake me up. But yeah, I was awake the entire time. I heard them say that he'll be okay. He has brick walls.
Nice.
Yeah. Like, okay, I'm going back to sleep.
It doesn't matter.
If I
The thing
die,
is,
it's
it's-
your fault.
Everything is stacked this way. Tornadoes go this way, and once that some debris compromises any part of the house, it's the wind that takes it out.
I couldn't get my head around a family being in a place and then losing one family member. I can't even imagine,
There's what?
like the family that lost their little girl.
There's a
I mean, did she just,
I don't know. I don't
And
know
I'm
the
not-
particulars in any of that, but I do know, what about that family that it took out all 3 of them and that little boy?
worked with Brian? She was a teacher at Allgood Elementary School.
And the thing is her family, well, it's a small world because she's from Adamsville, Tennessee. One of the people I went through the academy with is a police officer in Adamsville. And she was like, oh my gosh, they're missing. And she called me and she said, you know, what's going on? And I told her, and she says, oh, okay. And they're still missing, listed on the missing at this point. And she goes, okay. And then the family got notified that they had all been found deceased. But that's how small of a world it really is. So,
I know Bridget's older brother, but I'm not even gonna bring it up. I'm not even gonna mention anything, because not only did he lose his family member, he lost his house, lost his sister, lost his animals. Him and his mom are the only ones left.
it's a high price to pay.
And like, we had to plug my dog's ears, because we weren't anywhere even near getting hit, and we heard it.
It's the barometric pressure. When hurricanes come and when tornadoes come and they stir up all the wind and stuff, it brings the barometric pressure down because then it makes it more conducive for the tornado to spin. And that's what hurts animals' ears. And they use, some of them go crazy, some of them get,
My dog was crying, had her head down, because she's just a puppy. She was terrified.
So, are we good? Is everybody good? We want to do some work and think about something else? Huh?
Whenever I heard about a family that all of them died, go, at least they got all together instead of some of them going to a home that they don't even know anyone. And then she goes, that is very true, but they still all lost their lives. And I go, I know, but they get it together. They're
That's true.
together.
I understand that, cause it lessens.
Reminder
but
to
it
come up
doesn't
during
lessen the
break,
pains
please, to sign up
their
for the
families.
state basketball t-shirt if you would like to purchase one.
I know what you mean, that's how I'd want to go
Ellie
too.
said that his Aster Elite t-shirt.
If something happened to one of my kids, I would rather me go to.
Sure. And of course, what does my daughter do? Oh, I wanna talk about the coronavirus.
Can I go to the bathroom? Can I go to the bathroom? Can I go to the bathroom?
No,
Yes.
I'll go real quick, I'll wait. There's so many misnomers going on about
There
the
really
coronavirus.
is.
It is crazy stuff. Does anybody go out for third period? No.
I don't got
My sister said something.
I'm gonna start
about
putting
the
chairs
whole
back that are
coronavirus
unused.
at Echo Valley Apartments, and she goes, "You probably you know what? Really?" But she said it as a joke, and I go, "What if he's there?"
I like it.
She goes, "Well, I don't."
Where'd you get it?
I go, "So it doesn't matter."
Oh, I thought it was signed.
Well, I was actually at a Carmen concert.
Carmen?
Carmen.
Oh.
So, he was
Thank you,
in
Dan.
last Saturday.
I don't know who he is.
He's a relative of my mom, actually.
Oh, really?
Because she used to
Emily's
work for
back.
Piccolo.
Mm-hmm.
And during the 80s, that's where he was.
Mhm.
And so she used to work there right in her. So, yeah. It's like, I want to see this guy. I haven't seen him in years, you know, like, I was like a fan.
That's neat. When did you go see?
I think, last Saturday. Oh, wait, no, it was.
I don't think it.
Are you doing a fundraiser now for Biscuit Ridge?
No, no. I actually bought these. They just came in today,